the time to watch Cole the Corn Star's $239,000 loss video, and I got to give it to him. He did a pretty good job. Now, of course, if you've been on this channel and you've seen the people that get all offended because I didn't actually watch the video, I just referenced it. So when you reference something, I guess that means that you're supposed to have watched it, and I didn't. I just didn't have time. But today, a little bit of time ago, I did watch the video, all 34 minutes of it. It was great. He did a good job. What I said was I wouldn't put out my financials. I really wouldn't. It just isn't the smartest thing in the world to do. And he didn't. And he didn't. He put out some of his financials. He posted a $239,000 loss, but he forgot one very major important thing: the initial purchase of this wonderful stuff. You know, he did factor in some of the repair parts, but what he didn't do was say, oh, there's a baler at $175,000, or there's a skid steer I paid 40-some thousand dollars for, or there's an old tractor in the back that just sits there, but that was bought and paid for, and all this stuff. So yeah, he did a great job, and I hope he wasn't offended if he even saw this video, because like me, he probably just doesn't have the time to watch every video that comes across. Now, Cole's a nice kid. I've watched him. He has faith in God, which I do not. There are reasons for that, and I know there's a lot of people that hate it when I say this, but when he says he prays to Jesus Christ and he owes everything that he has to him, I say that man died 2,020 years ago or so. 2,000, not even that long ago, not 1,900 and some, because I think he was like 32 years old, some shit like that. There are a lot of reasons why I don't feel that I owe anything to a dead man of almost 2,000 years ago, because of life and life experiences. I've experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good turns bad, and ugly gets worse. And if there is a God or Jesus Christ died for our sins, explain to me why my sister rotted from the inside out. Explain to me why perfectly good, healthy people end up dead because, God chose to select them. And if that's the type of God that is out there, he can kiss my white ass. All right? So say I've lost faith or whatever there is. And if there is a life beyond this one, I guess I'll have to answer to that so called God when I get there. I am a controversial person. I don't share the beliefs of many. I really don't care what you think. The only thing that really bugs me is when you tell me that I'm a fucking moron and I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to agriculture, because I do. I really do. I'm constantly learning. I mean, I crack open books and educate myself all the time. Modern books, new books, like what was it? The Soybean Grower just came in today, and Successful Farming. So I do read those. I look at them. They intrigue me. I learn on all different stuff. Timothy learns too, doesn't he? Here he comes. Here he comes. What's up? See, so he's such a good truck driver. He just backed that in, but he's a little bit of a chicken shit when it comes to driving it down the road, aren't you? I'm gonna make him start driving truck. We'll give him Carl's truck to drive. He can drive that, right? You did tell me not to sell the R model because you were gonna run it, right? Well, what happened to you? You haven't got to it yet. You just doesn't want that job, do you? So, anyways, yeah, when it comes to expenses on the farm, I think those are things that are better left unsaid. It's just my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that everybody should hail Wesley. That's not true. I mean, if I had a 200, well, I did. I last year, 2018, was a miserable year. We lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. That shit doesn't come back in a year. And yes, he did make some valid points that you need a good banker that understands agriculture and is able to extend those onto the next year. Fortunately enough, for myself, I didn't need to extend any more uh, debt. I didn't extend any debt. I just robbed from my savings and other things like that I used to have, because I don't have savings anymore. Unfortunately, I did let that eat it up. And this coming year, with straw contracts and other things like that that I will be exploiting. Hopefully, I can definitely bring that back pretty quickly. So, but anyways, with that being said, I'm just going to leave it at this. If you don't like when I reference a thumbnail, because that's all I did was a thumbnail, and I made it quite clear that I hadn't watched the video. I had no idea what was in it. But now that I have watched it, I think that Cole did a great job in explaining what he wanted to share, as 99% of people that watch these videos think that everything that is shown on YouTube is gospel truth. I can tell you right now that it isn't. You see what I want you to see, and I'm pretty sure that Cole selected certain things, and he said that in his video in the very first 10 minutes of it, on what he was going to show and what he wasn't going to show, and that it wasn't going to be perfect, and that it was old, and he used averages. Now, I believe he actually probably, if his actual factual loss was $239,000, it was probably a fair bit higher because he left equipment costs out. He did not show his equipment costs. Now, he didn't factor in his YouTube earnings either, nor his brother's hay business and his mother's job and his father's side jobs. So there's a lot of money that is there. But what I did actually enjoy was the last 5 minutes of the video. I thought that was great because he actually explained what it would take to make up the $239,000 loss, which, even though I do not agree with him, he didn't put in $900,000 worth of equipment into that, because he would have ate it up in, like, he would have been $900,000 more in the hole. Trust me. He never factored it in. He didn't factor in the yearly depreciation of each and every piece of equipment. He didn't do it. Trust me. I watched the thing front to back not 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, now what made me lose my train of thought? Crap. What was I going to say? Well, it doesn't even matter. I just think that he did a good job in what he did. They're not actual factual numbers, and he did okay. But the last parts of the video, the very last part of the video, when he was talking about, well, the price of corn could go up, the price of beans could go up, which would make up for that, or the price of, and I did touch on that on today's earlier video, that as the price of grain goes up, so does the price of, well, fuel doesn't too much, but the price of fertilizer does, the price of equipment does, the price of parts does. And I got a really neat thing called the Shoup's catalog, and I'm pretty sure 90% of people out here have the Shoup's catalog. And a few years ago, when corn was $7 and soybeans were $13, $14, $15 a bushel, the price of the Shoup's catalog, the parts in Shoup's catalog, or even at John Deere, drum of oil from John Deere, $900, right? $900 when fuel, or when beans and corn were through the roof. All right. Well, right now I could get that same drum of oil for $600. Well, the price of oil came down, but not that substantial of an amount. So it all correlates. So even though at the end of that video he said, oh, well, all I need to do is gain this much, and I need to do is gain that much, or I need to, or the price needs, increase the yield and all that stuff. I can tell you one thing flat out, and no farmer on here is going to agree with me, and they may even call me a jackass. I'm going to tell you right now, grow less. Don't shoot for that 290 bushel yield, Shoot for 150. If everybody does 150,000, he did not factor in $900,000 worth of equipment. He did not deduct it. He mentioned it, but he did not deduct it. Because if he deducted it, he would have had to take a piece of each and every single one of those pieces of equipment and deduct a certain percentage of its value from the 900,000 and factor it in. He didn't do it. So go watch it again. I mean, if I have to, I will. And I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying it wasn't in there. And not that it even matters. He shows you what he wants you to see. So anyways, if everybody grew less, spent less on fertilizer, they'd be doing quite well. They really would. It's called supply and demand. And the more we overproduce, the lower the price is going to be. And then the backwards thinking of an agricultural person is, well, if I could just push my yields to an extra 10 bushels to the acre across the board, I'll be able to pay for one of these or whatever. I do it too. I'm just telling you. I mean, I push my hay yields higher than anybody else around. They think that they're doing great, but they're not. And supply and demand. We oversupply, the demand goes down, and guess what? I don't give a fuck what China does. I don't give a flying fuck what any of these people do. If they don't need it, they're not going to buy it. The price is going to stay at lows, at the low rates. So anyway, call me a jackass, call me jealous, call me whatever you want. I'm 47 years old. This shit that's here, I own it. I own it. No, I own it. My iron, my business. So I kind of know. I don't worry about what everybody else is doing either. So that's why I didn't watch it, because I don't care what coal the Cornstar's family made farming. I don't. I wasn't going to watch it. But there you go. Anyhow, have a nice one. I'm sure there's going to be some jackasses that call me a jackass, and maybe I am a jackass, but guess what? I don't give a rat's ass. Have a nice one.